Welcome to Philadelphia. We have our convention has arrived and we want to get a pulse on the action. Here are some delegates from California, and it's easy to see from both sides which way they are leaning.
We're happy to let you know what California is looking for in a candidate. We're looking to revolutionize the importance of education.
Because for the rest of the world, especially the Soviet Union, we need to think about our competition.
I mean, they already sent Sputnik out of space. We are way behind. It's clear our man Russell is the best man for the job. He's a fighter.
So you think we can strong arm Russia?
There is no doubt in my mind. Look what we've done. We have not only transformed and reorganized the educational opportunity in California, but if the rest of the U.S. can do the same, imagine the world power we could be.
Thank you for your time.
Here we are with the delegates from Kentucky. Excuse me, Kentucky, over here. Would you be willing to discuss what your opinions are on the upcoming election?
Well, we feel now with the establishment of the Kentucky Civil Rights Act, women's rights will finally be protected.
So you're mainly concerned with women's rights?
Yes, you see, we're really pulling for Cantwell to win this. He was always there supporting the issue since the first day it was mentioned.
It seems as though he's really pulling for equal rights for women. Like I always say, if the women aren't happy, no one's happy.
Perfectly said. And this act not only protects the rights of women, but all the races too. It even protects people with disabilities from being discriminated against.
Well, those are some strong assets, so clearly you've made up your minds. How about some words from Idaho, land of the potato? Excuse me, Idaho. Would you be willing to discuss your stance on the current election?
I sure can. But first you gotta understand that Idaho is feeding the whole country. And Senator Murren seems to be the only one that understands that.
For years now, we've been dependent on our crop, but suddenly the times have changed.
Well, just how bad is it? The crop is minimal. We barely have enough to feed our own towns, let alone the rest of the country, or even begin to think about making a profit. Well, you've certainly come a long way to have your voice be heard.
Cantwell was a good contender, but Senator Murren seems the man that's best for the job.
Merwin seems to be slipping way behind the other two candidates. Could you see yourselves throwing your support anywhere else?
Well, Cantwell was a strong contender, but frankly, we're not sure he's serious enough about the issues.
So you think Merwin is the man for the job?
Only a few minutes ago, we were able to grab the attention of representatives from Michigan, and here they are now. The American people want to know, what is going on with today's youth?
That's something I'd like to know myself. I mean, I even see it with my own children. Lately, I've been hearing all this talk about love and peace.
Of course that isn't a problem, but we're having some trouble keeping our youth in line with society.
The main thing here is that we keep our children safe. If rebellion starts now, who knows how it could escalate.
So how do you think this problem can deflate?
Well, I won't deny it. Cantwell is great with the kids. I have a feeling he can connect with our youth and set them straight.
Cantwell's so up to date, even Mrs. Cantwell makes an effort to stay with the times.
They're clearly the best influence. Bill Russell won't be able to hold their attention for more than 20 seconds.
Well, there you have it. Cantwell is for the kids.
We have New York coming in now. Excuse me, New York. How about a few words on New York State and your voting issues?
Of course, New York is doing okay. We see a man like Russell, we know will be in good hands. We're watching our economy finally begin to grow, and our people seem to be slowly getting back to work.
How about you? What are your opinions on Senator Russell?
Senator Russell has been instrumental in the increase of building and construction. He really seems to know what's right for our country.
The industry seems to be taking off, and the conditions of our city seem to be a priority for him. So you think Russell's a good man for the job?
Absolutely. He is working hard for the working man. We know he's a bit of a smart talker, but with him we believe he's even-handed enough to speak to all of the states. We believe he can improve the rest of our country like he's improved our state.
Well, you've heard us here, and it's getting close to that time. Let's get back to our coverage of the arrivals.
We are here live from Philadelphia. Today from all across this country, we have candidates and delegates. Party officials, campaign workers, pundits, and politicians have descended on this city for the start of the convention. The frontrunner, Secretary William Russell and Mrs. Russell, flew in this afternoon from their home in Rhode Island.
Some air, one question at a time.
Mr. Secretary, as of today, how many delegates do you have sewed up?
When it comes to delegates, we neither show nor do we reap.
What was that again, Mr. Secretary?
Well, I said Mr. Russell was making a joke. What he means is that we,
Neither do they sew.
Well, what about Extras and Hofstadter? You got his endorsement yet? In a word, No.
Do you think you'll get it?
Ask him. There's rumor he's in Philadelphia.
Yes, he's upstairs. He's going to make a statement tonight. He says it's between you and Senator Cantwell.
Then we'll just have to wait until tonight.
Mrs. Russell, what do you think your husband's chances are?
Well, I don't know. I mean, we have to wait for the convention, don't we?
Mr. Secretary, if there's a deadlock between you and Senator Cantwell, who do you think will be the dark horse of the election?
Jack Paul. I'm sorry, but I'm not about to build up the dark horse when I'm trying my best to look like the light horse.
Sir, what do you think of Governor Merwin's chances?
Governor Merwin is a very talented young man, and we don't know much about him, of course, but...
Would you consider Governor Merwin as a running mate?
Yes. I might. He's one of a number of capable men.
Mr. Secretary, how did you interpret the Gallup poll this morning?
I didn't interpret it because I didn't see it.
Senator Cantwell's ticked up 2% from you since last week.
Yes, but we're still leading by 9%. You can't say I don't believe in polls.
But what Mr. Secretary means
I don't believe in polls, accurate or not. And if I may bore you with one of my little sermons, life is not a popularity contest. Neither is politics. The important thing for any government is to educate the people about issues, not following the ups and downs of popular opinion.
Does that mean you don't respect popular opinion? You think a president ought to ignore what the people want?
If the people want the wrong thing, if the people don't understand the issue, if the people are misled by the press, by some of the press, I think it's important for the president to ignore their opinion and convince them that his way is the right way.
Do you think the people mistrust intellectuals in politics?
I'm glad you asked that question. Bertrand Russell seems to think so. He once wrote that people in a democracy tend to think they have less to fear from a stupid man than an intelligent one. Bertrand Russell?
Oh, the same name?
Yes, but no relative, unfortunately.
Wasn't Bertrand Russell fired from the City College in New York?
Yes, he was fired, but only for moral turpitude, not incompetence as a philosopher.
What image do you feel Senator Cantwell is projecting at the moment?
Image? Well, he's behaving himself, if that's what you mean.
But hasn't his basic image changed in the past year?
I'm afraid I don't know much about images. That's a word from advertising where you don't sell the product, you sell the image of the product. And sometimes that image is fake.
But after all, your own image.
It's a poor thing but mine own. Paint me as I am, warts and all.
What?
Oliver Cromwell.
Okay, boys, we'll have a statement for you in about an hour. Headquarters are straight through there. The mimeograph machine has been repaired.
And wisdom flows by the yard.
What's this thing, Mr. Secretary?
I'm sorry, but I think Dick Jetson would like the candidate to stop talking. But I'll see you all later after the delegation. Until then, as Senator Campbell says, may the best man win.
What do you think of Philadelphia, Mrs. Russell?
Oh, well, I just got here. I used to visit here as a girl.
Please, wait till we unpack.
Do you drink the tap water?
I'm sorry, but I'm not about to lose Philadelphia by admitting that I boiled the local water.
Bertrand Russell at a press conference?
All right, Dick, all right, no more jokes. From now on, we project blandness. The candidate should not mean, but be. And no matter what happens, I shall smile. Serenely, fatuously, ineluctably. Floods destroy the Midwest, and the candidate smiles. Half the world is starving, and the candidate smiles. War is declared, and the candidate smiles. Is there anything more indecent than the human face when it smiles? All these predatory teeth, reminding us of our animal descent.
Steady, no mention of Darwin. Evolution is out of bounds. Now before, the Garden of Eden was the word. And stop looking in the mirror.
I'm sorry, but I never pass a mirror I don't look in. I wonder why.
Vanity.
I look to remind myself I still exist. One needs constant proofs.
Well, better use the bathroom while I've still got the chance.
Oh, Alice, don't drink the water.
Hello? Oh, Miss Gappage. Good to hear your voice. Yes, ma'am. Well, he's got the Texas delegation coming in about 20 minutes, but, if you come over right now. Oh, good. You're in the hotel. Great. We'll see you then. Our national committee woman.
The only known link between the NAACP and the Ku Klux Klan. How does she do it? How?
Bill, may I ask you a very personal question?
Personal? Oh, there's no other kind between us.
Now, what the hell are you doing when you start that hopscotch thing up and down the floor?
As we say in the press conferences, I'm glad you asked that question. Oh, damn. The ancient Romans used to study the entrails of animals in order to learn the future. I'm told on very good occasion that my opponent, Senator Camero, goes to an astrologist for guidance. I, lacking all superstition, study the future in multiples of threes. Put simply, and we're not experts at putting things simply, I find a carpet with a workable pattern. See, this one's perfect. Now, if I step on a leaf before I take 3 paces, I do not get what I want. If, however, I can make 3 paces and then step on a leaf, I get what I want. I may say I never cheat. Ah, hell. I also go for the best 2 out of 3, and sometimes I make bets with myself. For instance, if the man I'm talking to does not respond to me within the count of 3, I get what I want. Victory. I hope I've answered your question lucidly?
Yes, you have. But let's keep it our secret.
Excuse me, Mr. Secretary. Sorry to interrupt.
That's all right, Catherine.
Here are your newspapers.
My own vice is the Daily Horoscope. Well, what'd you win?
The nomination, and on the first ballot, too. My God, I'm so keyed up. I can't sit still.
Well, you won't be doing much sitting still between now and Wednesday. Now, here is today's schedule. Most of the delegations will come to us. See, it's a tight schedule, starting with the Texas at 11:15.
My gosh, we're so close. So close. And then what?
You? We've got the delegation. It's yours on the first ballot, if you can get ex-President Hochstadter's endorsement. Mrs. Gamage.
Mr. Secretary.
Mrs. Gamage, how wonderful to see you. Come on in, have a seat, take a drink. You know my campaign manager, Dick Jensen.
Such a lovely hotel. I would say the hotelier makes all the difference at a convention. Does Mrs. Russell like your suite?
Practically a home away from home.
She is here with you, isn't she?
Yes. This is the good chair.
I'll sit here. There.
I must say, I'm glad to finally meet you at last, Miss Gamage.
And I'm glad I got a chance to see you, Mr. Jensen. I just love eggheads in politics.
Oh, well.
Could I get you something to drink?
I don't drink, Mr. Secretary. A Coke or a glass of soda, maybe. Anything. Professors like you give such a tone to these conventions. No, I really mean it. Of course, many of the women don't like them, but I do. Then again, I don't like them either. A great many of the women are suspicious of you professors, Mr. Jensen. You don't mind my speaking like this?
Certainly not, Miss Gamage. After all, talking to you is like talking to the average American housewife. You're not average, but you speak for them.
Very nicely put, Mr. Jensen. I don't know why everyone says he's so conceited.
Dick, stuck up? Why, he's the spirit of humility. An old shoe, in fact. As for being intellectual, he can hardly get through a Greek anthology without a trot.
Yes. You see, the women like a regular kind of man, like General Eisenhower. Now, he really appeals to the women. That nice smile. He is such a way with him. He inspires confidence because he doesn't seem like anything but just folks. You can imagine him washing up after dinner, listening to his wife's views on important matters.
Yes, indeed, you can.
Nothing pushy or aggressive or any of those things we women don't like in our men. He's just great. Now, Mr. Secretary, there's no doubt in anyone's mind that you're going to get the nomination on the first ballot.
Well, there is some doubt in my mind.
Yes. Now, let's face facts, man. You don't mind if I talk turkey?
No, by all means. Turkey.
You are not the ideal candidate for the women. You know that, I suppose.
Well, what sort of women do you have in mind?
The women don't like her trying to be funny all the time.
Wasn't Abraham Lincoln somewhat of a humorist?
The women were not voting in 1860. But they are very suspicious of a man who does not take things seriously. So don't try to talk over their heads and be smart. Oh, I hope you don't mind my speaking like this, but there isn't much time.
I'm certainly grateful for your candor.
Now, what we want to see more of is your wife. A lot more.
Well, you know, she was sick during the primaries.
And your 2 fine sons. Those are lovely spread of them in life at the barbecue. Very nice. We'll want more of that. But most important, your wife should be at your side at all times.
She must seem to be advising you as there has been a woman behind every great man since the world began.
Well, she does plan to campaign with me, if that's what you mean.
She's a tremendous asset. I don't need to tell you. Women like how she doesn't wear makeup and looks like a lady and seems shy.
She is shy.
She doesn't make the women feel jealous, and that's good. Keep her with you, Mr. Secretary, at all times. Your dad Adlai Stevenson, great harm not having a wife and trying to be funny all the time. Great harm. Now, Mr. Secretary, I want to ask you a blunt question. What truth is there in the rumor that there's been marital discord between you and Mrs. Russell?
Mrs. Gamage, my wife is here with me in Philadelphia and plans to be a helpful candidate's wife.
Could I see her?
Yes, Alice! Alice, come on out and meet Mrs. Gamage.
Now, Mabel Cantwell is such a nice woman, really one of the girls. You feel like you've known her all your life. Last time I was in Washington, she threw this lovely dessert luncheon for me with 4 tables of canasta.
How very nice to see you.
You couldn't look better. I mean, I like the whole thing, especially the naturally gray hair. That is such an important point with the women. Of course, Mabel Cantwell dyes her hair, but she gets away with it because she does a terrible job and the women feel sorry for her. Oh, I know you've got a million things to do. Anyway, I just want you to know that I'm for you, Mr. Secretary, and I'm sure that you and Mrs. Russell will make a winning team. When you're First Lady, just remember this. Don't do too much like Mrs. Roosevelt. The women didn't like that. On the other hand, don't do too little like Mrs. Eisenhower. The women didn't like that either. All in all, Grace Coolidge was really the best. Bless her heart. My husband had such a crush on her.
How is Mr. Gamage?
Mr. Gamage passed on in 1956. He was stricken during the New Hampshire primaries.
I didn't know that. I'm sorry.
So am I. He was a fine man, though, who didn't like politics. He suffered his terminal thrombosis while I was in Wisconsin that same year. Well, Bill, let's get to it. The women are in your corner.
You don't know how much that means to me, Sue Ellen.
Us girls will have a get-together real soon. And that's a promise.
I do hope so, Mrs. Gamage.
Oh, by the way, a little bird tells me Joe Cantwell has a surprise for you.
Surprise?
Mm-hmm. Says he's gonna smear you with something.
Smear me?
Oh, but here I am telling you what you already know. I'm sure you can handle it. Bye, Bill. Bye, Dick.
Smear you, Bill? With what?
I don't know.
Well, Alice, word has come from on high. We're about to have a visit from our distinguished ex-president.
Well, I must say he's one of the ones I like. Except he tells those long stories.
Which will it be, the kiss or the knife?
How can you miss? Like the rest of us, he loves a winner.
And he does like you, Bill.
I don't know, he's a funny old bird.
Yes?
Volunteer women for Russell on the mezzanine. They'd like to speak with Mrs. Russell.
Are you up to it?
Of course I am. Tell them I'll be up to join them in a few minutes. Copies of the Secretary's speech for tonight?
I'll check them now.
You might let me look at it. I'd like to know what I'm saying.
Oh, come off it. Your speech, rather.
The best money can buy. They've written speeches for Eisenhower, Howell Station, Truman, Dewey, Hockstader, which prove they are men of overpowering conviction.
Well, do you want to write 4 speeches a day on top of everything else?
Of course I want to, but I can't. There's no time. Shameful business. Speech by committee.
Not to mention president by committee.
Tell the writers again that the word alternative is singular. There's only one alternative per situation.
I would denounce them as anti-semanticists.
One alternative per situation. Unfortunately, that's grammar.
And marriage. Oh, left my handbag.
I'm sorry we're in such close quarters.
I don't mind, if you don't.
Odd, after all these years. Separate rooms, separate lives.
As someone sooner or later says, politics make strange bedfellows.
Yes.
Certainly, there's nothing stranger than the two of us in the same room.
Well, I can't imagine I'm the first candidate to be in a situation.
Bill, don't apologize. I said I'd do what I could to help, and I will.
Besides, if I were to ask for a divorce now, you couldn't be president, could you?
I wouldn't count on that.
It'd be awfully difficult. And it's considered bad form to get rid of the old wife. You know, I really want you to be president.
Why?
I don't know. Perhaps I'm unexpectedly ambitious. Perhaps I want to be First Lady. Perhaps I look forward to seeing you occasionally. Don't look alarmed, only line of duty. You know, an unexpected meeting in the East Room, an ambiguous encounter in the Lincoln Bed.
Alice.
Yesterday, a woman from the press asked me what changes I would make when we moved into the White House. I told her nothing of a structural nature would be changed. Will it?
You know, I do like the idea of the two of us being back together.
Bill, I'm not a delegation from the Legion of Decency. You don't have to charm me.
I'm not trying to. Look, I know it's tough.
Tough? Only for you. You're the one who has the problem. How to get girls into the White House. Or will you have a special place on K Street where the president, in disguise of course, can go and meet new people?
Why do you say things like that?
Obviously because I'm frustrated. Isn't that the usual excuse women give, and is that the usual reason?
When the desire to love someone between two people goes, it goes, and nothing on earth can bring that back. Between us, it went.
For you.
I suppose all I wanted in marriage was a friend.
And instead you got a very conventional girl who wanted a husband, who... No, I will not put that record on again. You know, I never know why, but we never seem to say anything new when we get onto the subject of my inadequacy and your... You know, what shall we call it this time? Athleticism? Since according to the ground rules of our marriage, we may call it anything except plain old-fashioned promiscuity.
Look, Alice, if you don't want to be with me anymore, if you don't want to have to go through with this gloomy farce, then don't. Quit. Right now.
Quit? Certainly not. I like circuses. Besides, I'm good for you. Isn't that what Dr. Artinian said after your breakdown? You were the link, he said, between father and sons, between William Russell and the world.
Dr. Artinian was right.
But I wonder what I would have done that summer in Watch Hill when we first met at the club if someone had said, that handsome young man you've just fallen in love with will always need you as a link. I think if I had known then what I know now, I would have slashed my wrists in front of the buffet table and beautifully bled to death between the chicken salad and the lobster Newburg.
Luckily, you're not taken to melodrama.
Not yet, anyway. But you're very nearly a great man. Suppose I can endure anything because of that. Even so, I must insist on my one condition. There will be no house on K Street. There will be no girls in the White House. That is the Treaty of Suite 674, agreed to this 31st day of July, 1960 in the city of Philadelphia.
Agreed. Thank you.
So here we are.
Somewhat past our youth and friends.
It would be nice if we were, wouldn't it? But, I really think I'll make a good president.
And what happens to the treaty if I lose?
Well, we go our separate ways. Well, which is what you want. Do I look all right for the volunteer women for Russell?
You do.
I ought to. I am a founding member of that considerable body.
Hi,
Hi, Mr. President.
you look mighty pretty, Miss Alice, as usual.
Mr. President?
Just plain out Hockstead to you.
Where did you come from?
Through the privy. There's a door into the next suite I sneaked through.
Oh, well, you look wonderful after your operation.
Ought to. Nothing but a hurry from mounting my grandson too hard.
Can I get you something to drink? No, don't tell me. Bourbon and branch water.
With which I shall strike a blow for liberty. Don't let anybody know I'm here. Well, son, how do you like politics?
I like it so much I'm beginning to worry.
Awful, ain't it? Worse than gambling, I sometimes think. Me, I was hooked when I was no more than this high in a certain four-flusher named William Jennings Bryan came to town. His last campaign, I guess. Well, they shot the works. Torchlight parade, picnic, the works. Then finally up there on the back of an old dray, this fella gets up and you never heard such a hollering from a crowd. Big man he was, and so he looked to me. About 9 foot tall with hair sweeping over his collar and that square red face of his. And when he spoke, I tell you, it was like thunder on a summer evening. And everything was still, listening. I used to know that speech by heart. It was the famous one. You shall not press down upon the brow laid with this crown of thorns.
You shall not crucify mankind upon a cross of gold. And then Brian lost the election.
So he did, so he did. But it was then and there that a certain farm boy named Don Hockstetter said, I'm going to be a politician and get the folks riled up. And eat plenty of barbecue and fried chicken and picnics and have the pretty girls hanging on my every word.
Your endorsement, Art, is certainly something to be admired for anyone who wants to be nominated.
I know it is. So indulge in old Duffy. After all, getting you fellas to squirm a bit, waiting to see who I'm going to put my money on, I tell you, it's about the only pleasure I got left.
I'm squirming.
Bill, I have a fatherly feeling about you.
And I have.
Even though I have certain doubts about you.
Doubts?
I am sort of responsible for your career. You were my Secretary of State and you were a swell one. But as you know, the people don't give a damn about Secretaries of State. They think the whole farm thing's a mess anyway, and the man who's got to deal with it. Well, I'm afraid the plain folks think the Secretary of State, by definition, is a foreigner.
And if he doesn't like it here, he better go back to where he came from.
Exactly. Of course, you were found governor before that. Though Rhode Island is hardly what we call a king-making state. Anyway, it isn't your ability, I doubt. Hey, you're 10 times as well qualified as I was, and look at me. Possibly one of the greatest statesmen of all time.
You were pretty good.
I certainly was. Though it's practically our secret right now is that there's been no overpowering popular movement to add me to that rock on in Mount Rushmore. But that's not for me to worry about. Now, my objection to you, I guess, was prejudice. For one thing, you're a fancy man from the East. But I'm nothing if not a realist. The age of the great Hicks, to which I belong, is over. The people trust you, rich boys, figuring since you got so much money of your own, you won't go trying to steal theirs. I bet the people who like this Rockefeller are really thinking in the back of their minds. If they make him president, he might decide to pay off the national debt out of his own pocket. If he did, I'd vote for him.
What do you think of Joe Cantwell?
Well, that's a leading question.
Well, I am proposing myself as a leading man.
Okay, I'll follow. Joe Cantwell is nothing but ambition. Just plain naked ambition.
And to get himself elected, he will lie.
Yep.
He will cheat.
Yep.
He will destroy the reputations of others.
Yep.
Good. So I assume you're endorsing me for the nomination.
Hell no. Because he's a bastard don't mean I don't think he'd make a good candidate or even a good president.
A good president? You're not serious.
Well, he's got a real sense of how to operate.
To operate? No, to accommodate. If the people are conservative.
He'll be conservative.
And if they're radical?
He'll be radical. Oh, I tell you, son, that boy's the kind of ring-tailed woman. And don't you underestimate him.
Oh, I don't.
Of course, he hasn't got the brains that you do, but then again, very few of us are as bad as you.
Now, Art.
No, I mean it. You are a superior man of the sort we don't get very often in politics. While Joe is just another one of the mediocre boys like me. Only smoother, of course, and newer model.
He is not like you. He'll do anything to win, and that makes him dangerous.
Now, I would hardly go that far. At least he knows his own mind.
You don't think I know my own mind?
Well, son, you got such a good mind that sometimes you spend so much time thinking how complex everything is, the important problems don't get solved.
I'm not that subtle. I'm not that indecisive. I'm not Prince Hamlet.
Hamlet? A lot of fine speeches in that play. A lot of fine speeches in you, Bill.
Art, don't support Joe Cantwell.
What makes you think I'm going to?
I mean it. I'm not thinking about myself. I'm thinking about the country.
Well, you got to admit Joe Cantwell ain't afraid to act.
Well, neither am I afraid to act.
Oh. Well, I seem to remember how once when you were at a conference with the Russians, you were all set to agree to continue nuclear testing. But then when the roof fell in on my administration, I found you had talked yourself up the other side of the street.
I only hesitated
I'll
because
say you hesitated. Ain't no catch Joe Cantwell hesitating. No, sir. He's sharp. He's tough.
He is not tough. He's expedient. And that's a very different thing altogether. And I promise you, if he were to become president, he'd be the greatest appeaser in history.
Now, I would hardly call him an appeaser.
Now, look, if the Chinese were, suppose the Chinese were to threaten to occupy Taiwan, and we were faced with another world war, the last world war. Now, this is the sort of thing that I think you and I could handle and could go about without losing Taiwan or starting a war. But what would Joe do? Well, Joe would look at the Gallup polls, and what would the Gallup polls say? Well, that's the average American. Do you want to run the risk of being blown up to save Taiwan? And he'll say, hell no. Joe would do the popular thing, to hell with Taiwan, and we'd be the weaker for it. And that day we're all afraid of would be closer.
Son, you've been reading too much of that Joe Alsop fella. Things are never that bad. Bill, you know, it gets mighty lonely in the White House. Worse for me, I guess, than for you. I never lived in a big house with a lot of servants the way you were brought up. But the worst part is, there's nobody you can believe. Everybody's lying to you all day long. Then my wife died. So one or more people on worse than we are. Bill, do you believe in God?
Do I? Well, I was confirmed in the Episcopal Church.
Hell, that wasn't what I asked. I'm a Methodist and I'm still asking. Do you believe there's a God and a day of judgment and a hereafter?
No. I believe in us and man.
I've often pretended there was a God for political purposes.
You know, I've never lied in my campaign. I've never used the word God in a speech.
Well, times have changed since I was a politicking. In those days, you had to pour God over everything. Like ketchup. No, sir, I don't believe there's a hereafter. We passed this way just once, and then, nothing. Bill, I am dying.
What?
That stuff about the hernia was just another lie, I'm afraid. I hope you don't disapprove. I asked the doctors to say the operation was a great success, but it wasn't. I got cancer of the innards, and they may say I may only last long enough to attain the next to normal.
Art, I'm so sorry. Isn't there anything they can do?
There's nothing they can do. Said, give me these pills to cut the pain. I want to tell you, son, I'm scared to death. That's a phrase for you. Scared to death is exactly right. I don't fancy being nothing, just a pinch of dust. No, sir, I don't like that at all.
I wish I could say something reassuring, but I don't think you'd buy it.
The only good thing I find is that all you sons of bitches are going to join me. I reckon there's some consolation in that. I want to tell you, son, if there's any point to this universe, it sure as hell evades me.
The whole thing's a tragedy for all of us. But there is some hope in this. Every act we make sets off a chain of reactions that never ends. And if we are reasonably good, well, there's some consolation in that, a sort of immortality.
I suggest you tell yourself that when you're about to face a whole lot of nothing up ahead. But for the moment I'm alive, and we go into the convention hall day after tomorrow and act like life is all there is. Which, come to think of it, is true.
The Texas delegation is here. Oh, hello, Mr. President.
Bill, don't tell anybody what I told you.
No, of course not.
Meanwhile, I'm going to keep you in suspense until tonight at dinner.
And then?
I'm going to throw my support like a bridal bouquet to the lucky man. Oh, these rumors about you and your lady friends won't do you a bit of harm. But keep out of trouble. You haven't gone and written any letters like some fellas do?
No. No letters.
Good boy. She's a nice girl, Alice.
I think so.
And you say you never tell a lie. Well, good. Glad to hear it. Christ, set up a plate of my pinches. I was going to get a new one, but they said it would take a couple of months to make, so I figured I could hold out with what I got. Art. Now you go on in there with those crazy Texans. I sure wish I was a fly on that wall listening to you tell them how you really feel about the depletion of the oil resources allowance.
Get out of here, you old bum.
Now, is that a respectful way to talk to the Envenena? The last of the great hicks as he shuffles off the stage, by way of the privy.
Well, what did he say?
We'll just have to wait until tonight.
He's going to come out for you, I know it.
No. He's going to support Joe Cantwell.
What? Are you out of your mind? Now, come on. The natives of Texas are getting restless. Now, remember on the oil issue.
Yes, I know. Double talk. For those we are about to deceive, my God, let us be truly compassionate.
Earlier today, Senator Cantwell and Mrs. Cantwell arrived. There they are, getting off the train at 30th Street Station. Later, Senator Campbell rallied his supporters at a press conference at his
Senator,
hotel.
we have really questions. We have really topics that need to be discussed, Senator. Senator, please. Senator.
Well, now don't get me wrong, I have a lot of respect for Bill Russell, but see, I think we need a real man of the people for president, like Art Hochstetler, who's been an idol of mine all my life.
Senator, what about tax reform?
No, I favor tax reform. You see, I think about cutting down government spending. We could eventually eliminate the income tax entirely.
So you feel we can increase military spending while eliminating the income tax?
And I think it's a swell thing that in a country like this, someone like me, from a poor family, could come up before all of y'all today, speaking for the real people of America. Ma'am?
Oh, I just wanted to say that I am for you, because you're not rich.
Oh, well, thank you. Here we go. And may the good Lord increase your kind.
Thank you, Senator Campbell.
Now, all I can say is that come Wednesday, I only hope that the best man wins. May the best man win.
Oh my God, Joseph Campbell! I can't wait to tell Mama!
Well, there you have it, Senator Campbell ready for battle. Now here in the studio we have a very special guest who I'm sure is prepared to speak on behalf of Senator Campbell's determination. Here we have Senator Campbell's mother, Virginia Cantwell. Mrs. Cantwell, welcome.
Thank you.
So tell us, just how does it feel to see your son face what may just end up being the most important race of his political career?
Oh, I just can't tell you how thrilled I am to be here. Joe has always been so full of determination, and I just know he'll do whatever he has to do to prove to this country that he is the best man for the job.
Was Joe always a standout?
Yes, sir. He always had a way of getting your attention.
Did you ever think you'd be sitting here with your son vying for this nomination?
Well, I didn't know it would be in Philadelphia, but I did know he was down for great things. He always had a way of getting your attention. Why, at the time he was 2, he was running rings around the other boys. They just couldn't keep up with him. If he wanted something, he knew just how to get it, no matter what it took.
Well, it certainly seems so. He's seen so much success in his life, but with his rising, his dedication to the military, his advancement up the political ladder, his wonderful wife.
Oh, yes. Mabel. Dear Mabel. What a charming young woman.
Well, it must be nice having another girl in the house after spending so many years with your son and husband.
Sure it is. She's just so enthusiastic. And she and Joe, well, they're just 2 peas in a pod. And she certainly is a fashion plate. Have you seen the hat she wore this morning? Yes. Good Lord. Anyway, there's no marital discord in that family, that's for sure.
Thank you very much for your time, Mrs. Cantwell. Now back to the floor. This morning, Secretary William Russell and Mrs. Russell flew in from their home in Rhode Island.
This morning, Mr. Russell's challenger, Senator Joseph Cantwell, and Mrs. Cantwell arrived.
Yay, team!
There they are, getting off the train at 30th Street Station.
Oh my Lord, that hat.
Later, Senator Cantwell rallied his supporters at a press conference held at his hotel.
All I can say is that, come Wednesday, I only hope that the best man wins. May the best man win.
That went well, Joe. You better rest before dinner.
About Hochstetler, what did he say when you saw him last night? What exactly did he say?
He said he hadn't made up his mind yet, but he would by tonight.
Oh, Mabel, honey, come on out. It's just not late to me. Oh, hey, come on, you gotta get dressed. We gotta go down to dinner, which is in 13 minutes.
I'll be ready, Joe. Don't worry. Fix yourself a drink, Dawn.
Would you like anything, Mabel?
I don't know. Maybe just the teeniest martini. You know, to sit on my stomach. Oh, Joe, you look so tired.
Never felt better.
Well, I finally got through the women's tea, and I've been here watching TV. We got awful nice coverage, Joe. That time you had of mine is clearly a mistake. It looks like I have no chin. But even with no chin, I certainly look better than that Alice Russell. My God, she's a chilly-looking woman. Just like this English teacher I had back at State College, the spitting image. From Boston she was, and she always wore her hair in this bun and with no makeup, and of course she thought she was a cat's meow.
Here you go, Mabel.
Thank you, Don.
Hey, Tom, that joke of yours you got there is pretty good.
Oh, which one is that?
At his press conference, Senator Cantwell quipped, Bill Russell has more solutions than there are problems.
All the papers say Hofstadter's gonna come out for Bill Russell. Heaven knows why, with your record in the Senate.
I am tired. I gotta go talk to Hochstader right now, before that dinner.
And what are you gonna say to him?
Oh, everything. You might not endorse me, but it sure as hell drop Russell.
Okay, you're the boss.
All right, go on up there and meet him. I think he's on the 7th floor. Tell him I've got to see him before dinner, which is in 28 minutes.
Aye, aye, my captain.
Mabel, honey, come on, you know how to get dressed now.
I'll be ready, baby. Don't get all head up. Why is Big Papa Bear being so mean to poor little Mama Bear?
Oh, Papa Bear's never mean to his Mama Bear, never has. Come on, honey, you gotta get dressed.
I will. Joe, when are you gonna spring that stuff on Bill Russell?
Tomorrow.
The whole thing?
Pow!
And then we are on our way to 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. Oh my, it's thrilling, isn't it? It seems like just yesterday we were skimping along, hardly able to pay the bills to have Gladys's teeth straightened. And now just look at us, Papa Bear and Mama Bear and the baby bears, all in the White House.
Where's my electric razor?
I'll get it. I'll start putting my clothes on and,
Where's that last gal, Paul?
I think Don Blade's got it. Anyway, you're 2% higher than you were last week, with 12% undecided. Merwin gained 1% and Russell's lost 2%.
And on Chum?
47% against, 23% in favor. 30% don't know. I'm wearing the pink number tonight, you know, the one from Neiman Marcus Donald Brooks sent me. I think it looks real nice.
That's not enough. Russell's a fool for making an issue out of China this soon.
Well, I got my hair done by the man in the hotel today. He's awful nice, but terribly swishy. Anyway, he didn't get the curls too tight. At least I don't think so. He said Alice Russell had been in to get her hair done too. He said she refuses to entertain the thought of so much as a rinse. Well, bully for her. She looks easily 10 years older than she is. Joe, do you think I've gained weight? Around the hips, maybe? Honey, you listening to me? No, I guess not. You don't listen to poor Mama Bear much anymore. Joe, have you ever been unfaithful to me?
No! Hey, listen to what Walter Lippmann said this morning. This guy said, the country's affairs shall be in good hands, shall Bill Russell be our next president. I don't know why I don't appeal to those would-be intellectual types. I guess my image just doesn't project to them like his does. Oh, well, look at you, just good enough to eat.
What are you doing to me? Don't bust my hair. Come on, zip me up. Joe, are you sure you haven't been unfaithful to me? Maybe just one little time? On one of those junkets, maybe? Like that awful one to Paris you took, where all the senators got drunk and Clarence Wetlaw contracted that social disease? And Helen Wetlaw was fit to die.
Mabel, honey? There is nobody else, and even if there was, how would I have the time? I operate on a very tight schedule.
Joe, I talked to Hochstetter.
Well?
He'll be right down.
And?
Not a clue.
All right, give me that phone, Russell. How do you go up in there and fix your face or something? The president's on his way down!
Yes. Joe, play it cool, like the kids say now.
Oh, I will.
This ought to do the trick.
I'll say it will. Cute. Oh, very cute. How's the New York delegation?
I'm still split down the middle.
Well, they won't be split after this.
Here comes Hochstetter. You ready?
All right, all set. Remember, Don. Flat.
No more questions.
Mr. President.
No complaints, Joe. Well, this ought to start some rumors.
Oh, gosh, I'm sorry. I should have arranged for you to come in the back way.
That's okay. We're getting near that time anyway. Got my speech right here. My teeth are in and I'm raring to go. What about you? Where's your party suit?
Though I have it all timed. It takes me exactly 3 minutes for a tux and 2 for an ordinary business suit, and that's including vest, so.
Well, ain't you a ring-tailed wonder? You don't mind if I strike myself a blow for living?
Oh, well, let me please, Don.
That's okay. I know Joe doesn't have the habit. People who don't drink never realize how thirsty we old bucks get along around sundown. No, sir, you don't drink, you don't smoke, you don't philander. In fact, you're one of the purest young men I've ever known in public life.
I try to be.
Well, I'm a great admirer of virtue, though a somewhat flawed vessel of grace myself.
Now, Mr. President, you're an ideal to us in the party.
Sure, Joe, sure. Young man, you have done a remarkable job in the Senate most of the time.
Most of the time.
There have been moments when I've questioned your methods.
Well, you have to fight fire with fire, sir.
And the end justifies the means?
No, yes, sir, that's what I believe.
Well, son, I have news for you about both politics and life. And may I say the two are exactly the same thing. There are no ends, Joe, only means.
Well, I don't like to disagree with you, sir, but that's just sophistry.
I know that them two-bit words on poor Lord Hockstead. I'm just an ignorant country boy. And all I'm saying is that what really matters in our profession, which is really life, is how you do things and how you treat people, and what you really feel about it. Not some ideal goal for society or for yourself.
Then I am to assume, Mr. President, from that statement that you have just made, that you are against planning anything?
Ah, here it comes. I know that voice. Joe Canwell, boy crusader, up there on that TV with these small-time hoodlums cringing before his righteousness.
Now, Joe is assigned to that subcommittee. He didn't ask for it, and that's a fact.
Sure, and he just fell into that big issue. How the United States is secretly governed by the mafia.
Anytime you want to see my files, Mr. President.
Last time somebody asked me to look at his files, it was Senator McCarthy.
I hope you're not comparing me to him, sir.
No, Joe. You are a much smoother article. After all, you've got an answer which you can justify your means getting the president. Paul McCarthy was just wallowing in headlines. Sufficient to the day with the headlines thereof. No, sir, you are much brighter, much more ruthless.
I realize some of my methods upset some people, particularly criminal.
If we weren't tough, we would have never cracked the mafia the way we did.
What's so funny about that, sir?
Nothing, only you know and I know. And everybody knows, except I'm afraid the TV audience, that there was never a mafia like you said. There was no such thing, you just cooked it up.
So we're going to get to that number, are we? Well, my figures prove.
You went after a bunch of poor Sicilian bandits on the Lower East Side of New York and pretended they were running all the crime in America. Well, they're not. Of course, you have a pretty good idea of who is, but you didn't go after any of them, did you? No, sir, because those big rascals are big contributors to political campaigns.
Maybe he didn't go after all of them, sir.
Just barely scratched the surface.
Oh, but you should talk. J. Edgar Hoover considered you one of the most morally lax presidents in his entire career.
I will reserve my opinion of J. Edgar Hoover for a posthumous memoir or a time capsule we dug up when he was finally cleansed the Republic of Undesirables.
Hoover is a great American.
We're all great Americans, Joe. No, I don't object to your headline grabbing and your crying wolf all the time. That's standard stuff in politics. But it scares me you take yourself so seriously. It's part of the course trying to fool the people, but it's downright dangerous when you start fooling yourself.
Mr. President, I take myself seriously because I am serious. This is important to me, to all of us. Which is why I don't want any lectures from you on how to be a good statesman. And frankly, if you really want to know, I think your administration is one of the heaviest burdens our party has had to carry.
What, Mr. President? What a nice surprise you dropping in on us like this.
Well, I was invited down here by this young man for a little conference, and here he is, filling my head with sweet nothings.
Joe admires you, I guess, more than any man in public life.
Mabel, honey, leave us alone, please. Don.
Okay, but Joe, you gotta get dressed soon.
Okay.
You sure look fine, Mr. President, after your little vacation in the hospital.
Fit as a fiddle. Never felt better.
I'm sorry, sir, flying off the handle like that.
That's okay. You just got a case of the old pre-convention jitters. Now, I assume you didn't ask me down here to discuss the virtues of J. Edgar Hoover.
No, I did not. Now, I know you don't like me, sir.
Now that you mention it, I don't. I never have.
And I never liked your kind of politician, but that's neither here nor there. I don't expect for you to come out for me tonight.
I should warn you, I've often endorsed men that I disliked, even mistrusted, because I thought they'd do the job.
Now, I have something to show you about your friend, William Russell, you see? It's all right here in this file. I just want you to take a look at it and, what's the matter with you?
Nothing, just, have to take one of my pills. Pet me up. Joe, you believe in God, don't you?
Yes, I do.
And you believe there's a hereafter and a day of judgment?
Of course. You see, if I didn't believe that, I wouldn't be able to go on. I'm a very religious kind of guy, in a funny way.
I'm sure you are. Times like this, I wish I was. Dying is no fun, let me tell you. And that's what I'm doing.
All right, now it's all here. Psychiatrist reports and everything. Don't ask me how I got it, because my methods might have been a bit extreme, but I think for once you'll agree that the end was worth.
What is all this crap?
See, a few years ago, your candidate, William Russell, suffered from what is known as a nervous breakdown.
I know that.
Oh, he was raving mad for almost a year.
He was not raving mad. It was exhaustion from overwork.
Now, that was the press release. See, the real story is right here.
I know the real story.
Don't let you know it's political dynamite. A full-fledged report on his mental state, how he deserted his wife, how their marriage has always been a phony political front.
I won't begin to speculate on how you got hold of this.
No, and all the big words are there. Manic depressive, paranoid pattern. Attempted suicide.
You never attempted suicide?
Oh, you didn't? Oh, look, it says right here, see, suicidal tendencies.
We've all got suicidal tendencies. But he never tried to kill himself.
But the point is that he could.
I thought you said he did try.
I never said that he did try. I said that he couldn't. All that combined with the playing around with women.
So what?
Though I suppose you find promiscuity admirable.
I couldn't care less. I was brought up on a farm in there. The lesson of the rooster was not entirely lost on me. A lot of men need a lot of women in their worst faults, let me tell you.
What exactly do you mean by that?
Just that there are rumors about every man in public life. Why, when I was in the White House, they used to say I had paresis, that I was keeping this colored girl out in Alexandria. Silliest damn stories you ever heard, but it gave a lot of people a lot of pleasure talking about it. You know, when that Walter Kinsey fellow wrote his book about how many people were out doing this and how many were doing that, I couldn't help but think how, along with all this peculiar activity, there was a hell of a lot of nothing going on.
All right, leaving the moral issue aside, you still think it's a good idea to endorse a man president who is mentally unstable?
He is not mentally unstable, and you know it.
A manic depressive, apt to crack up under stress.
So that's the number 8.
Now, if Russell doesn't withdraw before Wednesday, I'm going to see that a copy of this will be sent out to every delegate. I'm going to challenge him openly, and I'm going to ask him if he thinks a man of his mental state is fit to be president. No, frankly, if I were he, I'd withdraw before this hits the fan.
Well, you were not Russell to state the obvious, and he might say in rebuttal that after his breakdown, he served a right rough period as Secretary of State, without showing the signs of strain in any way.
One of the psychiatrists reports that his pattern is bound to repeat itself. He is bound to have another nervous breakdown.
You and your experts. You know as well as I do, those head doctors will give you about as many different opinions as you want on any subject.
Now, I realize that, which is why we'll demand to be examined by a nonpartisan group of psychiatrists before Wednesday to determine if he is sane.
You know he won't submit to that?
No, if he doesn't, that means he's got something to hide.
Well, you sure play rough, don't you?
I regard this as a public service. Look, I'm not asking you for your support. I don't even want your support, but I do want you to think twice before endorsing a man for president who is psychopathic.
You got it figured, of course, that even a hint that a man's not right in his head will be enough to knock him off. When do you plan to throw this at?
Tomorrow.
And of course you waited for the last minute so that he doesn't have a chance to clear himself before the convention starts. That's right, smart.
Now we'll just have to figure out some way for him to withdraw gracefully. I was thinking maybe claim exhaustion from overwork, not up to the rigors of campaigning or something like that.
And if he doesn't quit gracefully?
Then I will demand to be examined by psychiatrists, and this will be circulated.
I hope you realize you are now open to the same kind of treatment.
I have nothing to hide in my private or public life.
Are you absolutely certain?
Just try anything.
Well, looks like we're gonna have a real ugly fight in our hands. Yes, sir, a real ugly fight. So now I'm gonna let you have it. And my boy, when I'm finished with you, you will know what it is like to get in the ring with an old-time killer. I'm gonna have your political scalpel hanging on my belt along with a lot of others.
Oh, don't mix with me, Hockstader.
You can't touch me, but I can send you back to the insurance business. And to think I was going to endorse you for president.
I don't believe you.
It's not that I mind your being a bastard, don't get me wrong there. It's your being such a stupid bastard I object to.
And that's that.
Okay, boys, we'll see you tomorrow in the convention hall.
Bill will nominate you on the first ballot tomorrow, and that's a promise.
If nominated, I will run. If elected, I will serve. Thanks.
We'll be in touch. Thanks. Well, what do you think?
Seems all right. No mention of mental health yet.
What did you think of Hofstadter's speech last night?
Oh, Senator Carlin, I thought you'd left.
No, just came to fix myself a snort, if you don't mind. Now, about Hofstadter's speech last night.
I think I was surprised just as anyone was.
You thought he was going to endorse you?
He certainly did.
And then the old man got up and talked plain double talk.
At least he didn't endorse Cantwell.
No, he didn't endorse nobody. For a minute, I thought he was going to come out to John Merwin, just to be ornery. Now, what happened last night? I heard you were with the old man. My boys think a lot of old Art, and I'll go along with them.
We were having a council of war, I guess you could call it.
They say Joe's got something on you. Something pretty bad.
Something untrue. And to be quite honest, I'm not very worried. I'm more worried about the labor and the union.
Oh, Christ, Bill, lay off labor, will ya? You got their vote now, so don't go stirring up a lot of snakes. After all, you're the liberal candidate.
What's a liberal, Senator?
And I thought Adelaide Stevenson was a pain in the neck. A liberal is, well, you, Bill Russell. That's what a liberal is, you.
It says here, a liberal is one who favors changes or reforms tending in the direction of further democracy. Well, I am in favor of further democracy for the union's rank and file.
Bill, please. I'm just a dumb old party hack.
I'm sorry, Senator. The terrible thing about running for president is you become a compulsive talker, forever answering questions you're not even asked.
Well, let me ask you a question. If nominated, would you consider giving the vice president nomination to Cantwell?
No.
For a compulsive talker, you sure don't have much to say on the subject. I hate an open convention. You can't ever tell what's going to happen.
Oh, they're never that open.
Suppose you better try for a Catholic. That seems to be the big thing this year. Or second place, that is. Bill, don't make things tough for yourself. You got their vote now, so leave the controversial things alone.
I can't help it. I'm driven by some mad demon, by some imp of the perverse. Meaning I am compelled to say what I think.
Okay, but try to lay off stuff like Red China, especially when you know Henry Luce is an absolute nut on China. And you don't want to lose time and life in the interest of good government and all that baloney. So, keep Henry Luce happy. Once you're president, you can eat with chopsticks for all anybody cares.
I will be diplomatic.
They say Campbell's releasing a statement to all the delegates. Says I'll knock you off.
Well, we're ready for him. He may be the master of the half-truth and insinuation, but we've got the facts.
And the whole truth?
No man is the whole truth.
Good luck, Bill. Let me know if you need anything. I'm behind you 100%. In spite of your damn dictionary.
Thank you, Senator. Dick, where's Dr. Artinian?
On his way from the airport.
And President Hockstader?
Talking to delegates. Now, Bill, I've got a line on Cantwell. I've got some real dirt.
Oh my God. Of all the stunts, this is the craziest. Excuse my excessive use of the word like mad or crazy.
You could have cut the air with a knife when you made that crack about being driven by a mad demon.
Well, President Eisenhower was reelected after a heart attack and hiatus operation. Didn't seem to hurt him.
Yes, but there was never any question about his mind or his judgment being affected. Well, what's the score?
I still get on the first ballot. Although I nearly missed it. I nearly missed that leaf by the table. It's a bitch. How's your daily horoscope?
AM, fine for getting a parallel order. PM, do not quarrel with loved ones. Now, Bill, you may have to pull a Nixon.
Now, what does pull a Nixon mean?
Go on television and cry on the nation's shoulders with 2 Cocker Spaniels.
And tell the world I'm not crazy? No, it won't work. Look, I admit it's possible to look a camera in the face and tell the world you won't steal their money. But I promise you, Dick, you can't look a camera in the face and say, honest, I'm not crazy. I just had a nervous breakdown like any regular fellow might. No, it won't work.
Why not?
Because it won't. And even if it did, I couldn't do it. I might laugh. It's too idiotic. Oh, Alice, how's the meeting?
I made a speech, or at least I started to read the one Dick gave me. Then halfway through I gave up and I made my own speech. And you know what? It was terrible. But what's happened?
Dr. Artinian's on his way to Philadelphia to tell the world I am not, never was insane.
It's worse and worse, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
Well, I've got to get back to work. Here, we have Florida in 20 minutes and then one more go at California.
All right, tell Dr. Artinian to get in here the second he can get you.
Does this mean they could publish everything about us? Our marriage and everything?
Yes.
Will they?
I don't know. Right now, I think it's just a bluff to frighten me.
Frightens me. I just hate to think of the children reading all that about us. It's filthy. It's filthy.
Do you want me to quit?
No. How very odd.
What?
Do you realize this is the first time you've touched me when there wasn't a camera or someone else in the room?
Here's your schedule. Your next appointment is... Oh my God, I totally forgot.
I haven't. Mabel Cantwell and I face the press together. Can I get out of it?
No, better not.
Well, then I'll go get ready. We're meeting in her suite. Oh, and she made the point very tactfully over the phone that, according to protocol, the wife of a reigning senator outranks the wife of a former Secretary of State.
Well, bless my soul. Robert, I'm so glad you could get off like this.
Of course, Bill. I'm gonna have to.
Dr. Artinian. President Hofstadter.
You Bill's head doctor?
That's right. And I'm a very great admirer of yours, Mr. President.
Well, I'm not an admirer of yours. Why don't you people keep your damn files for when you can get out?
We do, or well, we thought we did. Apparently somebody from Cantwell's office bribed one of our nurses, and well, they got the entire case history.
Listen, Robert, in about 1 hour, Campbell's going to release that file on me. Now, when he does, I know it sounds silly, but when he does, I want you to go to the press and tell them that I am not mentally unstable.
Robert, please, you have no idea how guilty you feel about this, of course.
He is all right, isn't he?
Mr. Russell is one of the sanest men I have ever known.
Then what's all that stuff about suicidal tendencies, manic mania, or whatever you call it?
They're just technical phrases which may sound sinister to any layman. I mean, he's certainly not a manic depressive. Anyone with psychological profile would make sound damaging.
In the South, a candidate for sheriff once won by telling that his opponent's wife was a thespian.
We'll find a room for you here, Doctor, and I'll get someone to help you with your statement.
Thank you, Dick. I also brought the Institute's lawyer with me. By way of making amends, Bill, we're filing suit against Cantwell for theft.
That's the ticket. Go to it, Doc.
I'll be ready when you need me.
Much thanks, Robert.
Bill, I want you to myself a minute. Now, what's this I hear about you not going on the TV?
I can't.
How the hell are you supposed to fight this thing if you don't?
No, Dr. Artinian.
Dr. Artinian. That's just one doctor. They'll say he's a friend of yours. Campbell's going to insist they have half the medical profession look you over between now and tomorrow. Oh, I tell you, Bill, I feel wonderful. Up all night on the go all morning seeing delegates. I tell you, there is nothing like a dirty, low-down political campaign to put the roses in your cheeks.
How do you feel?
The more. Now, a lot of the delegates realize that something's up. They don't know what.
Why didn't you endorse me last night?
Well, Bill, this isn't easy to say, but you might as well know. I came to Philadelphia to endorse Cantwell.
I knew that.
You did? How?
Prince Hamlet has second sight. He sees ghosts as well as endorsements upon the battlement.
This ain't as sly as I figured I was.
You decide to help me now because of what he's doing? With all this breakdown business?
No. No, matter of fact, speaking as a professional politician, I kind of admire what Joe was doing. It's clever as all heck. No, Joe Cantwell lost me because he wasn't smart. He made a mistake. He thought I was going to back you when I wasn't. That's a serious error. Shows you don't understand character, and a president, if you don't understand anything else, has got to understand people. Then he got flustered when I kneeled him. Man, no, president don't get flustered when another man gives the needle. He keeps a straight face, like poker. Like you're doing right now. But what does Joe do? He don't run scared, he runs terrified. He fires off a cannon to kill a bug, and that is just plain dumb, and I mean to knock him off. Which I guess means that you are going to be our next president.
President. But by default. Because you still have your doubts about me, don't you?
Yes, Bill, I still have my doubts. I want a strong president.
And a moral president?
They hardly come in any other size.
Oh, you don't believe that.
This is Sheldon Marcus.
Who the hell is Sheldon Marcus? If you'll excuse me, sir.
That's all right. I have to admit, I never...
My hands sweat. I'm a little nervous, I guess. You see, I just came in from Wilmington. Well, actually, it's not really Wilmington where I'm from. It's just a little outside of Wilmington, a little place you ever heard called Wilmington, a little suburb.
Dick, what's this all about? Hi, I'm Bill Russell.
Mr. Marcus served in the army with Joe Cantwell.
In the army? Now we're getting somewhere. Well, what was it? Was he a member of the Ku Klux Klan, the Communist Party? Or did he run away when the guns went off? Mr. President, sir, we weren't
We were both part of the Aleutians in the quartermaster course, the island of Adak.
We were there for about a year. Well, maybe more like 18 months for me, 16, 17 months for Joe. I mean, I know he didn't give any
But Dick, what are you trying to prove?
Now, shush, Bill, let's hear the dirt, whatever it is. Well, I just don't feel right saying something so awful.
I had a line on this months ago. I finally tracked it down. Tell them, Mr. Marcus.
Joe was a captain, and, I was a captain, and, you know how it is when there's all those men together?
And no female companionship?
That's right. Although we did have some nurses later on, not enough to make a difference. I mean, there was all those men and
no women.
Oh, for Christ's sake, Dick, stop it, will you?
Now, let's not get carried away with ourselves.
Look, you know Dick, you know he isn't that. And even if he was, so what?
I happen to find this very interesting, Mr. Marcus. Or should I say Captain Marcus? I was a major, actually. Promoted just before my discharge at 46. I'm in the reserves. The inactive reserves, but hell, if there was another war, well, I'd just be fine alongside him. Major Marcus, am I to assume by the way you were slowly beating around the bush that Joe Cantwell is what, when I was a boy, we used to call a degenerate? Yes, sir, that's exactly what I mean.
I don't believe it. Knowing what that awful wife and those ugly children could be anything but normal.
Bill, patience. Whether you believe it or not is beside the point.
Look, I'd be damned if I were to smear Joe with something like that.
Bill, I, like you, am a tolerant man. I personally do not care if Joe Campbell likes to flower sheep by the light of a full moon. But I am interested in finding a way to stop him cold.
Look, Art, this is exactly the kind of thing I went into politics to stop. The business of gossip instead of issues, policies instead of politics. We even up on Campbell's public life to defeat him without going into his private life, which is nobody's business.
Any more than yours is?
Any more than mine is.
But Joe is using your private life.
All the more reason for my not using his. I'm not Cantwell.
But nobody's used anything yet.
Look, Art, you are not my campaign manager. I'm running for president and not you. And as for you, Dick...
At least listen to the man.
No!
I'm beginning to wonder if maybe I'm trying to help the wrong team.
Well, perhaps you are. Perhaps you'd be better off with Campbell helping him blow his mud. Art, I'm sorry. I didn't mean that.
Observe how I kept a straight face while being insulted.
You know, I only meant that.
Yes, I know. Now, Bill, as a favor to an old man in his sunset years, will you just listen to Major Marcus? That's all, just listen.
All right, fine. I'll listen to him. But only as a favor to a friend.
That's just fine, Bill. Now you sit down and let events take their course. After all, how often does $1 million drop into your lap? Not to mention the presidency. Major Marcus, sit down. Make yourself comfortable. In fact, I will mix you a drink with these old skilled fingers, and you will tell us your story. Your entire story. Omit no details, no matter how sordid. Well, back on attack, there was this lieutenant named Fenn, Bob Fenn. That is Robert Fenn, and I'm not sure what his middle initial was, but that's not important right now. What is important right now is that Joe Campbell had this thing going on.
It's everywhere. And here seems to be the contingency from Utah. We've been reading a lot about that state, and some pretty interesting things seem to be cropping. Or shall we say landing in that state. Excuse me, folks, are you available for questions?
Sure, we're happy to speak.
Are we the TV?
Right to the camera there.
I know we've all been reading a lot lately about UFO sightings in Utah. We're wondering, what part does that play in support of your candidate?
We together, as a state, have been working night and day to try to find out more about these UFO sightings.
Senator Campbell has been working to protect us. Of course, there are those that don't believe it, but he seems to understand that we have a voice and we need to be heard. Exactly. Our state's rooting for Cantwell. Bill Cantwell. He has our vote. Russell has done nothing to turn his back on our issues. Russell? Exactly.
Well, thank you for your time. We're looking forward to hearing Cantwell speak on this one.
New Jersey has had a lot to say about its fair cities and urban design. Can you speak to how New Jersey is faring and whom you seem to be supporting?
Well, we're rebuilding our cities and counties, and Russell's the man who can help us.
We really can't afford not to bring attention to the needs of our state.
How exactly is Russell helping with the rebuilding of your cities?
Secretary Russell helped with the building of the Gateway Center.
Never seen one of these done in New York.
He really seems to have an ear for what we need.
Russell's got the goods. He's right and he knows what needs to be done.
Well, thanks for your time. Looking forward to seeing how this shakes out.
All right, folks, come on. Our ladies have a lot to do today.
Mrs. Russell, where are your sons now? Well, one's in Mush Hill and the other's traveling.
He's in Europe. I wish we had him here now for the experience.
Oh, I blinked my eyes. Yes, Joe and I were going to bring our girls up to Philadelphia, but then we decided no. This sort of thing is just too hectic for children.
Mrs. Russell, how's Mr. Russell today? He's just fine.
There's a rumor he's not in the very best of health.
I've never seen him in better health.
You know, my Joe just blossoms during a campaign, on the go all the time. I just don't know where he gets the energy from.
In fact, my husband is actually
Joe Cantwell is a real dynamo.
In fact, my husband... You know, sometimes I think my Joe has got nerves of iron. You know, nothing ever seems to upset him.
He has a great inner calm, which is almost spiritual.
My husband...
That's it, folks.
Miss Russell, what do you think's going to happen tomorrow? Do you think Mr. Russell has gotten the first ballot?
I certainly hope so.
Personally, I just hope that the best man wins. For the country and everything.
Amen to that.
Good day, ladies.
Well, that was an ordeal, wasn't it, Mrs. Russell?
I'm sure it wasn't for you. I mean, you've done so much of this kind of thing. You know, I have to go, actually.
Oh, no, stay, have a drink. I don't have anything to do till 4:15, so come on, let's play hooky.
I'm afraid I have an appointment in 15 minutes.
They have us girls on timekeepers, like trainers.
Would you look at me? All ready to moderate the fashion show at 5 o'clock.
No, it's a shame we couldn't do everything together. Instead, first you meet in one group and then me meet in the same group. Now, come on. What can fix you?
Nothing, thanks. It's too early for me.
Well, didn't our Hofstadter surprise everybody last night?
You know, personally, I think he's being a big old meanie the way he's holding out on us. And you know why? Publicity. He absolutely revels in that limelight. Oh, Mrs. Russell, I don't believe you've seen my children.
Oh, I've seen pictures of them, yeah. They are very pretty.
Yes, there's Gladys there. There's Gladys there, the oldest, the one with the braces on her teeth. I'm afraid they're all going to have braces. And Lord knows where they get those teeth from. Both Joe and I have perfect teeth. And oh, what a fortune it is having children's teeth straightened. Do you have any pictures of your boys?
No, not with me.
Very attractive.
Yes, and that was a nice spread of them in life. Such warm pictures. You know, you and Mr. Russell certainly get a lot of coverage from life. Much more than we do.
Oh, I thought we were neck and neck.
No, I'm afraid Joe and I must forget, Mr. Luce. You're his candidate for the time being. Oh, come on, sit down. I do love the way you do your hair.
Oh, well...
You know, it reminds me of this English teacher I had back at State College. A wonderful woman in every way.
Thank you very much, but I'm not wonderful.
No false modesty. You are wonderful. And courageous.
In what way courageous?
Oh, no. That committee you were on.
Committee? What committee?
Oh, you know, the one in New York City, where you did all that work for birth control.
20 years ago, and are not supposed to mention it now. As you know, I should hope not, you'll have the Catholics down on us like a ton of bricks. The rhythm cycle? Yes. But anything else is out.
You know, personally, I'm against any form of artificial birth control, except where it's a matter of health, maybe. But believe me, I think it took the courage of a lion to be coming out in favor of people using these contraceptive things when you're in public life. Of course, I guess then you didn't know your husband would be running for president one day, and when you do that, you just can't afford to offend a lot of nice people who vote.
Oh, I realize that. We must offend no one. But if you offend no one, you don't please anyone very much either, do you? I suppose that's an occupational hazard of being in politics. We are all interchangeably inoffensive.
Well, now, well, all right, but Mrs. Russell, did you know you sounded just like your husband there? Didn't you sound just like Bill Russell when he's being witty and profound and way over our poor heads?
I'd like to think that intelligence was contagious, but I'm afraid it's not. At least in my case, Bill's got the brains, I'm not awfully quick.
Oh, yes, you are, honey.
I really have to go. You girls are an inspiration to the American woman. Really? I mean it. Each in your own different ways. Thank you for that.
Oh, by the way, how is Mr. Russell's health? I mean, really. I thought he looked so peaked at dinner last night, and somebody did say...
The reporters are gone, Mrs. Cantwell. You know, as well as I, that he's perfectly all right. Goodbye. Bye.
Well, you listen to her. The reporters are gone, Mrs. Cantwell. If she wasn't so high and mighty, she'd start saying right now that he wasn't feeling well. So that when he had to pull out, there'd be some sort of preparation.
Mabel, I don't like what Joe's doing. It's plain dirt, and I should warn you. I'm a loyal party worker, and I'll see that the women are all behind Bill Russell.
Under him is more their usual position. It's just sex morning and night with that Bill Russell.
Now, Mabel, unless you were in the room, how would you know?
I read that report. Bill Russell is a neurotic who has had a mental breakdown and whose sex life is certainly not normal. Sleeping around with all those women is just plain immature, and we don't want an immature president now, do we?
We've had plenty of presidents who've slept around more than Bill Russell. And in the White House, too.
All right, here we are.
Here come the men.
And let's get back to the women. Oh, Senator Carlin. Didn't expect to see you here.
Just happened to be in the neighborhood.
I hope you don't mind if I take the bull by the horns and let you know right now that anything having to do with private life is out in politics.
I couldn't agree more.
It's an unwritten rule and a good one. Once you throw at a man that he's a mistress or an illegitimate child or something like that, you get sympathy for him. I don't know why, but you do. You also make yourself vulnerable because nobody's a saint. Not even you, Joe. So keep what you men do in bed, out of politics. Bye, Joe. Bye, Clyde. Bye, Mabel.
Photostats ready? All neatly bound. 600 copies ready to be distributed to the delegates at 3:30 p.m. Russell's doctor's in town. There's gonna be a statement.
He's gonna fight.
Aren't you fellas afraid of getting into trouble, stealing medical records?
We didn't steal them.
They were given to us. Pro bono publico. Now just take a look at this.
Yes? Yes? Who? Oh, Dick Jensen! Yes. Yes, Joe's here. Yep, you just hold on 1 second. This is it, honey. They're giving up.
Hi, Dick. How's it, boy? Oh, well, gosh, I really don't see how I can delay much longer on this release. I told all the delegates 3:30. You know, Bill could back out so easily now on this health issue. You know, I really hope you'd be helpful for party's sake. I really do. Do I know who? Sheldon Marcus. No, I don't think so. Where? I want to talk to Russell right now. We'll try and fix this. I'll be right back.
Well, honey, what did he say? Come on now, get with the TL.
You're not going to meet with Russell, are you? I thought we decided...
Hold that stuff on Russell.
Hold it. But we can't. We told the delegates 3:30.
Hold a second.
Joe, what's happening?
If you'll excuse us, please.
Oh, sure. Well, goodbye, Miss Cantwell. You know where to find me after 3:30.
Go on, stop that release on Russell now.
Okay, you're the boss.
Joe, what did Russell say to you? What's he doing to you? It's not. It's not. Oh my God.
You should have heard his voice. First time I've ever heard him stuck. He wants to see you, so I told him 3:30 and he agreed without a fee. That means no announcement to the delegates.
Mr. Marcus, I want to thank you for coming out here today. I'm sure this must be distasteful to you, as it is to us.
Well, but we had hanging my wife while she was visiting the table. She heard that I thought Miss Jensen was going to come here and see all you, but I told my wife.
Well, many thanks. Would you wait, please, in my office? That's the second room across the hall.
Yes, Mr. Jensen. I guess this is the biggest moment of my life, meaning you, Mr. President, sir.
I expect this is the biggest moment of your life, Major. You may have changed history. Excuse me for not getting up.
I'm telling you, I certainly never thought back in 44 when Joe and I were on a DAC, that 16 years later we'd be here in this hotel with him running for president and me talking to you, sir, whom I always admired. Although I do have to admit I didn't go for you the second time around. It was not for you just a bit of a...
Let your vote, Major Marcus, remain between you and your God.
Yes. Yes, sir. Yes. I guess that's right, yes. I will remember that, sir. No, sir, I truly will. Yes. I won't have to see Joe, will I?
We hope not.
See, he just got this temper. He's a real spiritual. He's got this temper like a snake.
We'll remember that. Thanks. See you in a few minutes. Bill, we've done it. We've stopped Joe Cantwell.
I'm not going to use this.
Well, of course you're not, except privately. See, what we do is we take this to Joe and say, if you make an issue out of this breakdown, we make an issue out of a certain bit of court-martial testimony.
Oh, Alice, how'd it go?
My cheeks are tired from smiling for the cameras. But I must say I'm beginning to enjoy politics, Mr. President, especially when Mrs. Gamage tells me that I'm an inspiration to American women in my way.
You're an inspiration to me, Miss Alice. Excuse me for not getting up, but could you fetch me some branch water? Just plain branch water.
Of course. Well, first we talked about Mabel's children. Then we talked about my children, and then we discussed the role of women in politics, and we both agreed that a woman's true place is in the home.
I'm sure Mrs. Gamage was eloquent on that subject.
Eloquent to the point of obsession. And we also agree that women should be informed about the issues.
Worst damn thing ever happened to this country, giving women the vote. Trouble. They got no more sense than a bunch of geese. You just give them a little smile, a pinch on the anatomy, and you got 10 votes.
May I quote you, Mr. President?
I will deny that having made such a vile and un-American statement. Thank you, ma'am.
But finally, there were some pointed references to your health.
Which means they've started. Not to crack up, already showing signs of strain. Hell, I am showing signs of strain.
Bill, you can stop him. Right now. We've got the ultimate weapon. Massive retaliation, as Foster Dulles used to say. We have a visitor.
Gentlemen, Mr. President.
Mr. Blades, contrary to what you may have been told, I am not seeing Joe Campbell.
Oh, but I thought you were. I thought you were going to be in Joe's room because there were less supporters down there.
That's right, Bill. I said we'd be right down.
You did.
So I came up to see if I could get you down without anyone seeing you. I checked the service elevator.
Dick, you and that actor man there go try the bathroom route. Into the bedroom and for the next suite and on down.
Okay, but the secretary isn't going downstairs, then I...
Get moving, boys.
Come on, Don. This is the dry room.
You have to.
Do what?
He's got the stuff to knock off Cantwell. Only your lily-livered husband won't go through with it.
You can keep them from bringing up all this mental business?
Maybe.
Definitely.
Then do it.
Well, you don't know what it is I have to do.
I don't care. If you took a gun and shot him, I'd help you if I thought it was the only way of keeping our lives private.
The girl, listen to her, Bill. She'll run from the fight.
Well, you know I'm not afraid.
Then what is wrong with you? Why are you hesitating this time?
I'm not being righteous and I'm not being fastidious, and I do want to win. But how can I, in all conscience, use this, even against Joe?
I should have stopped with Cantwell from the start. Because listening to you ham and haw about your conscience is turning me against you fast. My God, what would happen if you had to make a quick decision in the White House? And perhaps all the lives depended on it, and you just sat there, like you're doing now, having a high old time with your divided conscience.
I am not divided. I know what I have to do, and this is not it.
Then you don't want to be king of the castle, so stay away from us. Be a saint on your own time, because you aren't fit to lead anybody.
Why? Because I don't fire off a cannon to kill a bug? Because I don't have that quick, mindless reaction you seem to confuse with strength? Well, I assure you, there is more danger in a president who acts on animal reflex than in one who is willing to reflect before he acts with some vestigial moral sense that goes beyond himself. Don't you get it?
I start to fight like Cantwell, I lose all meaning.
If you don't start to fight, you are finished. Now, I'm here to tell you this. Power is not a toy we give to good children. It is a weapon. And the strong man takes it and he uses it. And I can assure you he don't turn it on himself. No, let another man come at him with a knife that he don't fight back. Well, that knife is at your throat. And if you don't go down there and beat Cantwell with this very dirty stick, then you got no business in this big league. And faster than I'll help Joe Cantwell take the whole world if he wants. Because it's not for you and never will be.
Well, the coast is clear. We're all set.
First, we passed through a suite containing a hosiery salesman and a woman. Perhaps not his wife.
Definitely not his wife. He looks forward to meeting you, even though he hopes that Campbell gets the nomination. His companion betrayed no intimacy with the names of either candidate.
Then we go back downstairs through a room containing a widow from Bangor, Maine, who is for Russell.
And from there, they go down to the Campbell bathroom, where they meet and make history.
That's right. But what's going on beats me.
Here's your chance. Your last chance. Take it. Go down there. I want a strong president to keep us alive a while longer.
All right. Wait for me in there.
Well, how are you feeling, Mr. President?
Just fine, considering the alternative.
And so one by one, these small compromises, these small conflicts destroy character.
To all power is corruption already. Dear God, you hate yourself for being human.
No! I only want to be human. And it is not easy. Once this sort of thing starts, there is no end to why it should not begin. And if I start, well, how does this end, this sort of thing, huh? Where does it end?
In the grave, son, where the dust is neither good nor bad, but just nothing.
You're a good man, Mr. President.
I reckon I am when all's said and done.
But I don't know if this is the right thing for Bill to do.
At least I put a fire on the candidate. I just hope it don't go out. Now, don't be alarmed, but I want you to pick up that phone back there and ask for Dr. Latham. He's in the hotel. Tell him I'm up here. Tell him to come quick, through the back way. And tell him to bring a stretcher, because I can't move. I'm afraid the old man is just about dead.
Yes, the name is Conyers. C-O-N-Y-E-R-S. Yes, this is Senator Cantwell. Yes, this is an emergency. What? They can't find him.
But he has to be there.
Try his quarters then.
And you're sure General Connors will back you up on this?
He better. Well, isn't there a phone anywhere near there? He's playing golf. All right. Tell him as soon as he gets back to call Senator Cantwell in Philadelphia. The number is Walnut 8769. Got it? Thank you.
But you've got to talk to them before they come down here.
That's too late now. Let's see. Maybe as well. Conyers, the delegates. Sheldon Market. Sheldon Market.
Joe, I am scared to death.
Oh, well, don't be. Come here, poor Mama Bear. Oh, Papa Bear's not gonna get shot down this close to the honey tree.
I just don't understand how they can use something which is so untrue, which is such a dirty lie, and everybody knew it was a lie, even at the time. Oh, how I hate politics.
Conyers! Oh, yes, hello? Oh, hello, Mrs. Russell. No, Bill isn't on his way up here yet. I guess he's still on his way down. What? Oh my God, that's awful. And you say he's, yes. Yes, of course. No, I'll tell Bill. The second he gets here, yes, he is a great guy, Ms. Russell. Thank you. Goodbye. Our Hoxator just collapsed. They've taken him to the hospital. He's dying.
Dying? I thought he...
The hernia stuff is a lot of bull.
Well, what's that do to us? He's dying now.
Go find out what hospital he's at.
The room should be right about
Not a word about Hoxator. I don't want anything to upset this meeting.
Well, here we are.
Touch and go for a while there, but we made it. Nobody saw.
Well, now. Well, you look at that. I tell you, they look like two wild animals at the zoo. Come on. Somebody say something. It's just politics after all. It's not the end of the world or anything.
Yet.
I had such a nice visit with your wife, Mr. Russell. And she's going to be a real campaigner now, isn't she? Can I fix you a drink or something? We have just about everything. Let me see. There's gin, and there's scotch, and there's bourbon with branch water, just like President Hoxtater always used to.
I don't think you want a drink, ma'am. No, thank you.
Well, I guess we must be making ourselves scarce, Don.
Tell me when you want to go back upstairs.
Is Sheldon Marcus in the hotel? Yes. I'd like to ask him some questions in front of you, if you don't mind.
I'll bring him down.
To have him waiting there.
Well, I guess you two boys want to be alone. You go easy on my Joe, who is the best husband that there ever was, ever. Well, goodbye. Joe, honey, if you need me, I'll be over in Sue Ellen Gamage's room. We're having a real old-time hand fest with all the governor's wives.
Well, Bill, here we are. The main event, as they say.
The main event. And here we stand as
Oh, I'm sorry. Sit down, please.
And it is not safe to move.
Who said what now?
Martin Luther once said, and it is not safe to move. You see, Luther was
You don't
trying
need to tell me
explain-
who Martin Luther is, Bill. I happen to be a Protestant. I'm a very religious kind of guy, Bill.
You don't need to tell me that, Joe.
Oh, you think you're so good with your bad jokes and the admiration of a lot of bleeding heart fellow travelers. You don't mean a thing in this country.
That was very good, Joe. Pure Cantwell, known as the multiple lie, or in this case, the multiple lie plus confused statement. For instance, you say that I think I'm better than the rest of
You
them.
don't deny.
Excellent. Cut me off before the answer even begins.
Vintage Cantwell. I'm not interested in your selfish, your contender deliberate refusal to answer.
Mr. Chairman, point of order. Oh, Joe, how are you going to keep them down in the Senate once they've been on TV?
Very funny. Very cute. You should have had your own TV show.
Thank you. I take that as a compliment. Now, Joe, I came down here to try and convince you that there are some things a man cannot do, even in politics.
Now, I have given you every hint, every opportunity the past 2 days, Bill, to withdraw from this race. And considering your medical history, it can be done so easily, so logically. You see, all you have to do is claim exhaustion, fatigue, and something like that. This ugly business would be all over with, and then the party could then unite behind its real caddy. Then we take the election in November.
You make it sound so simple. But it isn't. For one thing, I'm going to sue you for the theft of my case history.
Oh, now, Bill.
But that's not the main point.
But Bill,
the main point in the situation.
Bill, I didn't steal it, okay? It was given to me unsolicited. Besides, I'm sure your doctor won't file a suit against me if you ask him out.
And why would I ask him not to? Part of your interest. What's the point of smearing me if I'm the one who's going to get us into the White House?
And what makes you so sure you're going to win the nomination?
Because I expect you to withdraw, Bill. Because you've got no choice. Then who else is there except me?
You are amazing. You know, I came down here with enough political nitroglycerin, not only to knock you out of the race, but out of politics altogether. And there you stand, and tell me that I'm the one to withdraw.
I also promise to use you once I'm elected, Bill. That's a solemn promise. You see, you could have any position in the cabinet you want. Expecting Secretary of State where I'm all hung up with somebody else, sir. You could even be our first ambassador to Red China. That's right. I intend to recognize Red China, although I'll make an issue out of it until public opinion is a bit more...
Never defend, always attack. You're really good at this, Joe. I mean that.
Another thing you should know, and since you've been using it so much in your points against me, is politically, we're almost the same on every major issue, except I'm a lot less reckless than you. You see, I see nothing to be gained from launching a policy just to have it shot down because the climate wasn't right.
And you call that leadership?
There are many different forms of leading. The worst one is saying brilliant speeches on the right side at the wrong time. I know how to wait.
You are candid.
Oh, and I'm not! Because I was born into this. You're one. See, I know in my bones how to do this thing. I understand the people of this country because I am one of them. I know how to win. I know how to maneuver. See, I knew from my very first election I was going to be president of the United States of America. And nobody was going to stop me. Not even the brilliant, witty, aristocratic, intellectual William Russell was nowhere to do with the people of this country than I with the Groton Harvard Wall Street set.
Well, there's no immediate need to start a class war. I'm not better qualified to be president because I went to Harvard than you are because you worked your way through a state college. But obviously, you know, there's a certain suspicion of the self-made man these days. You know, the people aren't as naive as you think. Any man who works his way to the top is certainly to be admired, but the people sometimes wonder, how did he do it? And who did he hurt along the way? The self-made man often makes himself of pieces of his victims. Now, Joe, you were something of a Frankenstein monster made up of the bits and pieces of the Sicilian bandits. And your political opponents, well, all assembled before our eyes on the television.
How I was made is not the question. What matters is that I am here.
And you think that your basic public image has changed?
No, it has. According to the last Gallup poll, only 12% of the people even remember that there was a mafia hearing.
I remember.
The image that they have of Canwell is the one that there is now.
Smooth, cautious, beyond reproach.
Oh, and that's right. People forget. Nobody's going to get any mileage out of my past, so let's get the solution business over with. I'm going to question Sheldon Marcus right now, and boy, you're in for the surprise of your life.
Nothing you do ever surprises me, Joe. What I do, however, is beginning to surprise myself. I never thought I could bring this upon anyone. It revolts me.
Come on! Don't give it a second thought. Look, I don't blame you. See, I'd certainly use it against you.
That's the thing. You would. I wouldn't. At least I never thought I would.
And what are you doing here in this Joker Marcus sandbox, except for to smear me as a homosexual, which I am not?
I never said you were.
What are you doing here if you don't think I am?
Had you paused at any moment in your offensive, I would have told you what I came here to do.
I hope you realize that you have just admitted that you don't believe this accusation against me. That you are openly confessing to
shut up! Art Hochstadter was right when he said you're not very sensitive to people. You're so busy trying to win, you don't stop to figure out what it is you're winning.
I'm only trying to stick the issue at hand. I don't believe in indulging in personality.
Oh, come off it, Joe! I came down here and tried to convince you to drop this nonsense against me, just as I mean to drop the nonsense against you. It is irrelevant and dishonest, not to mention untrue. They cancel each other out. So I wish you would join me in not indulging in personalities. I will tear this up and send Sheldon Marcus back where he came from if you drop the business against me.
I see you came here to make a deal with me.
I only came here to...
Look, I totally understand, Bill. I have no hard feelings, really.
You have no feelings, I would say.
And perhaps you have too many. You part in your breakdown said you might have thought of committing suicide.
Oh, who hasn't thought of it?
Oh, I never have. And I don't think a president should, no matter how tough the going gets.
Am I to understand that you're trying to save the country from me? That you are genuinely afraid I'm unstable?
Oh, yes I am. You just admitted that you thought of committing suicide.
Then, Joe, if I'm so unstable, why did you offer me
The ambassadorship to Red China.
The president could keep tabs on our ambassador.
Always
Nobody
attack.
can keep tabs on a president.
Always attack in the best interest of a television performer. Well, Joe, let's get down to the dirty business. I won't throw my mud if you won't throw yours.
And we walk into the convention center tomorrow, and you get nominated on the first ballot? No.
Well, then, good luck. And may the best man win, providing we don't knock each other off and the party.
No, wait a minute, Bill. I realize we have got to make a deal here. I'm willing to be reasonable, only you have to...
Stop it! Either we declare a moratorium on mud, or we both let fly!
Okay. Don, send Shuttle Marcus in. Could I see that court-martial testimony of yours? Oh, hi, Shell. Long time no see.
Joe, long time. Hello again, Mr. Russell.
Joe just wants to ask you some questions.
Well, I really ought to be getting back home. You see my wife?
Oh, you live in Wilmington. Oh, what a great town. I used to have some cousins there named Everly. Helen and Jack Everly. Maybe you know them in real estate or something.
Hey, it's not really Wilmington proper where I'm from. No, it's just outside of Wilmington where Peggy and I are from. I don't think we know anything about the name of Everly.
Shelley, you put on a little weight, haven't you, buddy?
Yeah, it's my wife Peggy. It's my wife Peggy's cooking. She's a wonderful cook. I thought, Mr. Russell, I was going
to see your old buddy? You know, I would have been fit to be tied if I had known Sheldon Marcus from ADAF was in town and hadn't come to see me.
Well, I know how busy you two gentlemen are running for this whole president thing. I was just passing on.
And you thought you would pause just long enough to smear your old buddy?
Come on, Joe. Don't get mad at me. It was my duty
to get even with me for seeing you were passed over for promotion because of incompetence. That was a good idea to start with the motive.
Is this true?
I mean, my picture
can be found in Army records. Unsatisfactories. I was a juror, and I personally stopped his promotion and his transfer, and he knew it. Now, on April 6, 1944, my concert at the Army base of ADAC, they're moved to Lieutenant Fenn.
That's the one I told you, that's the one that we all knew.
We shared the same hut for 3 months.
That's just two of them, just like I told you, just the two of them.
Now, Fenn was caught with an enlisted man in flagrante delicto on the afternoon of 14 June 1944 on the back of the post shirt. The MPs caught him.
And that's when he laid, that's when he broke down and he told about everything and everybody, about how the MPs had laid a trap for him. What? They must have all been tipped off.
By the Advocate General.
That's right, by Lieutenant Fenn. What, he made, about 20 or 30 names, and one of them was Joe Campbell, his roommate.
Correct. Now, what happened to those trained officers who were named in the court-martial?
They were all separated from the service. Section 8, we called it. The whole gang of them, all of them, kicked out.
All except one?
That's right. All except you.
And why wasn't I?
I don't know. But what I do know is I know what everybody else was thinking at the time, that Joe Campbell was a twisted up with a fancy wide to save his own neck. Oh, yes, sir. He was a real master of operations who get himself out of any situation. But don't take my word for it. It's all there in the record. As signed by Lieutenant Fenn.
Where's Lieutenant Fenn now?
He's dead.
Oh, yeah, he's dead. You remember that plane accident on the freeway when the lighter struck the engine?
Now, if you're so innocent, then why did Lieutenant Fenn name you?
Because I was the one who turned him in. Now, this con would have known, but I'm ashamed of you, Bill, for not doing your homework. For not checking in with a certain colonel, now Major General Conyers. You see, Shelley, when I found out what was going on, I went to Conyers and I told him everything. See, me and him laid a trap for Fenn, and he fell right into it. You see, at the court-martial, I testified secret evidence against him. And that's why he named me in revenge. And that's why no action ever was or ever could be taken against me. I even got promoted on the strength to clear those tops out of our command.
I bet this isn't so. I bet that isn't so. I bet you'll find it all there in the record. I know Joe Campbell.
Can you prove this?
A few minutes ago, I was on the phone with the Advocate General. His name is Conyers. He's in Colorado now. He said he would back me up in every way. Here's the name and number. He's expecting a call from you, Bill. And now, Sheldon Marcus, if you ever say a word about this to anybody, I will have you up for libel, criminal libel. I will involve you personally in that whole today. I'll make you wish you've never been born. Oh, just a second now. Now, third grade senior, Shelley. Next time, bring the wife Peggy, yeah, we'd love to see you in Washington now. Come and visit us next time you're here. How's that?
Hold it.
Ah, thank you. Bye, Shell. I hate to break it to you, Bill, but I've got you covered on every side. This thing won't stick for 2 minutes. And just a warning, it's just a kind of desperate last-minute smear that always backfires on the guy who launches it. Escort Hoxeter, he'll tell you. True. False. We've both gone beyond the truth now, Joe. We're a dangerous country. No, every word I said was true.
You are worse than a liar. You have no sense of right or wrong, only what will work. Well, this is gonna work.
But you're not gonna use that
yes.
now.
Yes, I will. I'll use anything against you now, Joe. I can't let you be president.
Bill, what are you gonna do with that now, Bill? Honest to God, nobody's gonna believe it. It's too dirty, Bill. Come on. All right, go ahead, Russell. It's your own funeral. That's me. You haven't got a chance. Send up, lady. Keep trying my Colorado call.
Well, what happened? Where's Russell? Joe! Hey, Joe!
Oh, hi, Don.
Where's Russell? What did he want? What's this all about?
You know what the guy just said to me, Arthur? He said I wasn't very sensitive to people. He said I wasn't a very good judge of character.
Is that what he came down here for? To give you a lecture?
Yeah, pretty much. Well, I got news for him. I am a very good judge of character. You can release that stuff on muscle now. 1 copy to every delegate. And Don, we're home free. I'll make you a bet. Russell quits before the first ballot tomorrow.
Hello? Senator Joseph. No, he's not back yet. No, I don't know what to do. He's still at the hospital with President Hofstadter, and there's no way to phone. I guess we just stand by. How's the balloting? Oh, no.
No comment, no comment. Thank you.
Wait a minute, Senator, he's here. Bill, it's Senator Joseph. He's in the convention hall. They're into the 6th ballot, and it's still a deadlock. No one's got the lead, but Cantwell has the majority. I mean, Joseph says that if you let him last Cantwell now, then we're in on the next ballot.
What was the voting on the 5th ballot?
Cantwell 474, Russell 386, Merwin 214. All the favorite sons are gone, and no one's budging yet.
Well, what about Merwin? If I were to get his 214 votes?
You'd win, but he's hanging on. Senator Joseph is trying to reach him now to see if he'll take on the 2nd spot with you.
Cantwell must be pulling the same thing.
Merwin's hanging on for the best possible terms.
Showing unexpected character, isn't he?
You've got to make up your mind. You've got to let our boys get that stuff on Cantwell to the delegates. I can
Tell
ask
the senator to wait.
But we can't.
I said wait, Dick.
Not yet. Bill, what's wrong with you? We lost a night and a day, but one word from you and we can still wreck Joe Cantwell.
I know.
Then why are you holding back? What have you got to lose? Joe's done his worst. Every delegation has a copy of your case history in there, and believe it or not, we're still in business. I don't know why, but we are.
Which means that maybe the dirt doesn't always stick.
Enough did. We lost 300 votes because of it.
But not all of Cantwell. Merwin picked up over 100 of the votes, which is obviously a sign of something.
Disgust?
Or human decency.
Decency? At a convention?
I am an optimist.
I packed. I thought no matter what, we'd be leaving Philadelphia.
Yes, he'll be leaving.
How was Art?
They wouldn't let me see him. He's still unconscious.
Look, Bill, I don't want to press you, but will you please just make up your mind? The 6th ballot is almost over, and... Hello? Oh, it's you. Oh, he does. Now? It's Don Blades. Joe Cantwell wants to see you.
Huh. I'm sure he does. All right, tell Joe to come up. I'd like to see Joe again.
Okay, he'll see you.
What do you think Cantwell wants?
A deal. What else does he ever want? Have you seen the latest statement? The rumors about William Russell's health have been maliciously exaggerated. He's wonderful.
Look, before he gets here, let me call Senator
No,
Joseph.
Dick.
But yesterday you were willing to do anything.
That was yesterday. I did a rather poor imitation of Joe Cantwell. I lost my temper. I even turned my own stomach. But today I'm myself again.
Bill.
Leave him alone, Dick.
There's a certain relief to knowing that the worst has happened and you're still alive and kicking. Ah, look, my good friend Senator Carlin. True to the end.
This southern state has 44 votes for the next presidency, Joe Cantwell.
Senator Carlin is every characteristic of a dog, except loyalty.
Gentlemen. Hello, Bill.
Hello, Joe. So nice of you to join us.
Oh, yes, Mrs. Russell. I don't think we met. I'm Joe Campbell.
How do you do?
I'm on the phone, I guess.
Sit down, Joe. I thought you'd be off writing your acceptance speech. Nor is that already written?
Well, now, Bill, it's
I've
not
been
the
working for
picture.
months on mine, trying to strike that delicate balance between humility and confidence.
Yes, now, as I see
Although
the
you
picture.
seem to hit yours right on the note.
But yes,
I like the
Bill.
way you have a good sense of stating the obvious with a
Yeah.
sense of discovery.
Bill!
Although you seem to have that trick.
Bill, at least let me get Homer in edgewise!
I'm sorry, Joe. I couldn't resist. Look, see, I'm using Joe's technique. Never let the other man finish his sentence. Always talk straight through him. Also, whenever Joe starts a sentence with, "Now, Bill," you know he's up to no good.
Now, Bill.
See?
Very funny. Bill, the way things are going, this convention's really hung up, and if we keep up like this, we may never nominate anybody.
And who wants to spend the next 4 years in Philadelphia?
Yeah. Believe me when I said I give this thing a whole lot of thought, and I want you to be on my ticket.
Huh. Well, that's very generous of you, Joe. But tell me, how could I possibly be vice president when at this very moment I'm suffering from one of my nervous breakdowns?
Oh, there was no way of keeping a report like that under wraps. Then practically no mention of it.
Just like there was no mention of Art Hockstader dying.
Art didn't want the people to know how sick he was. I didn't need Mrs. Russell. You know he's dead now, right? Well, now as I see the delegation.
I didn't know he was dead.
Oh, yeah. About a half hour ago. You knew it was all over last time when I saw him.
You saw him?
Yeah, that's right. I saw him last night, just for a few minutes while he was still conscious.
Oh, no, don't tell me with his last dying breath. Art said, "Go to it, Joe, and pass down the torch."
Oh, you really like to jump to conclusions. If you really want to know what he said to hell with both of you. I mean, both you as well as me.
He sure was a funny old bird, full of piss and vinegar right to the end. But his day was done. Bet he conked out when he did.
Will you two please get out?
Bill.
Bill, for a lot of reasons, we want you on the ticket. If I were you, I'd be showing a little, gratitude.
Gratitude? Do you know that all I have to do is call Senator Joseph?
But you knew that story and Joe was a bum rap, so how could you use it?
Since when's the truth been a deterrent in this convention? It is also not true that I am mentally unstable.
But it is true that you had a mental breakdown, and that's a fact the voters deserve to know.
Bill, I solemnly promise before these here witnesses that I will give you any position you want. Vice Presidency, Secretary of State. Commitment or no commitment, it's yours if you throw me your votes on the next ballot.
Bill, come on, we're scared.
We're not scared.
They're sweating ice.
Now, how about you not in front for the sake of the party?
Look at them squirm.
Who's squirming? Anyway, we have all the votes we need.
Where?
Governor Merwin.
He won't play with you.
He offered to, but Joe didn't want him on the ballot. He'd rather have the secretary here.
Merwin refused to be on the ticket with Joe, and you know it. If he agreed, you wouldn't be up here sweating.
I'm not sweating!
Bill, come on, we've got them. We've really got them. Let me call Senator Joseph.
Oh, I wish you would. Tell him to support me in the interest of party unity.
And tell him that you're ready to lower the boom on Cantwell.
All right. Call him.
Hello? Good me through to Senator Joseph, Extension 12, Convention Hall. Hello, Senator? That you? Brace yourself, this is it. Our man is about to fight.
Russell, you can't use this. Joe,
Shut up, Don. Russell always seems to do the right thing.
Thanks. Hello? Senator. Yes, hi, this is William Russell. I'm coming down to the convention hall in a few minutes, and I'd like to make a statement. But before I do, I'd like you to get to the chairman of the next delegation pledged to me. Utah? All right. Tell the chairman to announce to the convention that I have withdrawn from the race.
Bill, I swear you will not regret this.
And that I'm releasing my 384 delegates with instructions to Governor John Merwin.
Merwin?
But you can't.
But I can. And I have.
Merwin's nobody.
Well, he's now somebody. Neither the angel of darkness, nor the angel of light, if I may exaggerate my goodness, has carried the day. We canceled each other out.
Allow the angel of greatness to win as usual.
The light blinds us. We're all afraid of the dark. I meant it, Joe, when I said I couldn't let you be president.
Well, you have just cut your own throat. You are through in politics.
Joe Cantwell is through in politics.
He had a deal. He had a deal with Merwin. That tricky son of a...
I don't understand you. I know you don't. Because you have no sense of responsibility toward anything or anyone. And that is a tragedy in a person and a disaster in a president. You say you're religious? Well, I'm not. But I believe in this profound life, and how we treat one another, and how this monstrous I, the self, must become we in the games we play at murder and draw the line, and make us be good, even when there is no one to force us to be good.
You don't understand me. You don't understand politics. You don't understand this country and the way it works. You are a fool!
Joe Campbell doesn't understand the way we are. At least not yet.
You don't even know Merwin. Nobody knows him. He's a man without a face.
Don't underestimate him. Many men without faces have been elected president. And usually the honor or responsibility fills in quite nicely.
I'm afraid, Bill, that your conscience is my enemy.
Well, everyone hustled except for Russell. Well, here comes Utah.
At the instruction of the great American and Secretary of State, William Russell, cast its 14th pledge vote to Governor John Merwin.
This is a break in the deadlock, an unexpected development. There's real excitement down on the floor.
Well, we've got work to do. Do you want to come down to the convention with me, or would you like to stay up here?
I'll go with you.
What do you think?
Well, I wish you'd been nominated.
Me too.
But I like the way that you really won.
Thanks. Life is a choice, they say. I've made mine.
And without doing your little 1, 2, 3 walk.
You know, Alice, you don't have to stay with me if you don't want to.
I know I don't have to.
But would you like to? Even though you're not going to have another chance to be another Grace Coolidge?
Now it's my turn to choose. Of course I'll stay.
Good. Although I must warn you, the fires of autumn burn notoriously low.
Well, I've been cold for such a long time.
United States goes to the best man, the great Governor John Merwin.